My roommate doesn't speak much, but I like that about him. We found each other through a Craigslist ad. I was looking for a cheap apartment, and he had posted a room in his apartment for rent. The pictures he sent me looked nice enough. It was a bit too cheap to be true, though, so I asked him why. He said he didn't mind lowering the price, as long as I understood I would have to sign a waiver. I didn't really want to sign a waiver, but I wanted the apartment, so I asked him to just tell me what the catch was. He said he just didn't want any trouble from the landlord. Apparently, the landlord didn't allow having roommates, so we had to keep it a secret. I agreed to this, and I moved right in. At first, I couldn't get over how silent my roommate was. I mean, I hadn't seen him say a word the whole time I was there. Then one night I woke up and I heard footsteps in the apartment. I sat up in bed and saw my roommate standing at the foot of my bed. He wasn't making any noise, and he wasn't making eye contact with me. He just stood there staring. I started screaming at him, and he just kept staring. I threw a pillow at him, and he flinched. That's when I noticed his eyes. They were soulless and empty, like they weren't even there. He blinked, and then he was gone. Now, every night I hear him walking around the apartment, and every night he stands at the foot of my bed, staring at me while I sleep. At first, I tried talking to him, but he never responded. So now I just scream at him every night. Sometimes I think he might be a ghost or an entity that's haunting me. I honestly don't know anymore. The other day, though, something weird happened. I was sitting in my room watching TV, and the police knocked on the door. I opened it, and they asked if everything was okay, because they'd gotten a call from a neighbor saying that someone was in there. I let them in, and they went to my roommate's room and started asking him questions. My roommate was sitting in a chair by the window, and he didn't seem to react when they asked him things. I thought maybe he was deaf or mute or something. Then the cops looked under the door and on the wall next to it. They looked back at me and said, "Sir, this unit has been vacant since last year. You know, this place hasn't had running water or electricity for months, and all the neighbors have said they haven't seen anyone living here since last year. So can you explain why you're here?" I told them I lived here with my roommate, and they asked to see some proof. I went into my room and grabbed my phone and showed them the lease. They took it, and their faces fell. On the lease, it clearly stated that I was the only tenant, and there was no mention of a co-tenant. I tried explaining that we had an oral agreement, but they didn't seem to care. They ended up arresting me for trespassing, and I spent the night in jail. When I got home the next day, I found a piece of paper on the floor where my roommate and I had been sitting. It was a part of the lease. I picked it up and turned it over, and that's when I saw it. Underneath the spot where my name should have been, it said, "Next to die."